Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here and welcome back to the channel. So today we're actually going to be going over the new DLC as well as the new event going on in Fractured Daydream. But we're jumping that into here. As always, I'm Chrono. I primarily cover PS2 content. Would much appreciate to subscribe as we work towards that 10K mark, hopefully, by the end of this year. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. So we finally got our first DLC and it's a bit mixed on feelings. I wanted to talk about like what we got, how I feel about the specific updates we do have, the good stuff and the not so great stuff, things that I feel like should have been done better or should have been done differently. So the first thing I actually want to talk about is the release schedule or the release for the actual DLC. I have no way of sugarcoating this. It was a bit of a shit show. It was all over the place. Like realistically speaking, I don't know why it was released the way that it was and why it couldn't just be released equally across the board for everyone. I don't know why this has happened multiple times now for SAO. First we had, console with their release date being a bit weirder, like they had it later on down the line, where PC got it, at the same time across the board for everyone. It's very strange. This time around, the DLC released on console, I believe midnight JST, and everyone had access to it. And then on the PC side, it was like released based on where you live, like regionally, and then eventually it was like after maintenance completed. It was just all over the place. So people were very confused, especially with the issues that Steam had where the DLC was available early for some people. They had to release, news about that saying, hey, look, we're not going to ban those people. The people who were playing the character early were cheating to play the character early. So those people got banned, but you guys are going to get banned for this because it's not your fault. It was all over the place. So it was very mixed. It was very confusing. A lot of people were like, hey, the new character's showing up in my runs. Like, can I play them? Like, you could totally play them. Just complete this. And it's like, it was an irritation beyond belief. Maybe it was more of an irritation for me since I'm a streamer and people were like, oh, the new character's available. I'm like, no, they're not supposed to be. Like, I'm not playing the character early if they're not supposed to be available. They're not supposed to be available or whatever. And then we got to look into it and find out it's available here, then the other. So it was a complete shit show of a release. Like realistically speaking, I know people want to get the characters as soon as possible, but the best way to release these things is always going to be a global release for everyone at the same time. But it after an update or something along those lines. It just makes it straightforward across the board, equal for everyone. And honestly, to me, at least personally, it kind of makes it more fun for everyone involved as well, because you get the idea of exploration of the character itself, right? You're not worried about, oh, I got to stay off the internet for the next, 24 to 48 hours because people are already playing the new character. I don't want to be spoiled on all the new stuff that's happening, right? And I have no way of, it's not even a situation of, oh, you have to work or something like that. You have no way of playing it early. So really annoying. Definitely a different way they should have done that, at least in my opinion. Moving from there, we have the actual quests. So if we head over to additional story, you can see we have DLC 1, and then of course there's like the other slots. We know this DLC 2 is going to be here, and we got 2 other major DLCs we'll see here. We'll probably see more like this. This can definitely slide over, so I'm not worried about that in the slightest. But we have the DLC quests. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 total DLC quests. I've already S-ranked them all. We played through them. I'm not going to talk about the story for the DLC, primarily because one, I haven't really experienced it. I skipped the cutscenes, that way, chat would have a spoiler-free experience. And we're going to go over the entire story. We're going to play through it again, probably next week, I imagine. So I can't really talk about how she was implemented into the story itself. We're not going to go over that. I'm not going to have an opinion about something I haven't done. It's just a bit silly. What I can have an opinion about is the missions themselves. They weren't terrible. They were fine. I mean, the very first mission, you're getting introduced to her, I guess, and then like every other mission, she's on it with you. So you can play the character in every other mission. My major gripe with these missions were twofold actually. One, some of the mission the mission objectives were just a bit weird. Like they did the whole I'm not sure if you guys remember, like going to the terminals and hitting or breaking all the breakable targets thing or whatever. They did that, but like more annoying for some reason. I'm not sure why that was a thing. It could have just very well been kill all the enemies in the room, which would have been fine with, honestly. Like it's totally okay. And granted, you can definitely use those rooms as a way of getting more points if you just focused on killing a bunch of enemies and not went after the targets. But this is like a small nitpick. It's not that big of a deal. I just thought it was kind of annoying to have those types of missions in the mix here. And it happened more than one time. But the major problem I had with these missions were the cosmetic rewards. Part of when they announced the DLCs where they talked about, hey, you've got new characters, you have a new character, you have new story quests, you have new cosmetics, and then, so on and so forth. Dude, these cosmetics were, call them a letdown is a bit of an understatement. Like it's pretty bad. So as you guys know, as you level characters, you unlock skins for their weapons. The cosmetics, I can show you all of them in like 1 second. This is it. the dual black silver swords. They basically gave these swords to every character that could use swords. I'm kind of in the way, so I'm going to move out of the way really quick here so you guys can see it a little bit better. Hang on one second. There you go. They gave these swords to every character that could use swords. And to be honest, I wouldn't care as much if these were unique in any way, shape, or form, but they're not. The problem with these swords is they are the equipment that drop. Oh, do I have a pair? I think I saved a pair, right? I saved a pair. I just like dismantled a bunch of stuff. There we go. They're things you get from the mission. Like, so it's not even unique. It's something that you get as a drop. Like, it's a regular weapon drop, right? So like, yeah, you can have it if you want to. Like, you know, I have all the skins of these different types of weapons. You know, you have, you know, dual divination, we have elucidator and dark repulsor, elucidator rogue and flare repulsor, all that stuff, right? Like, we have those, but like the cosmetic you get for paying for a DLC is the cosmetic of a weapon that drops anyway. Like, they could have very easily done something like, honestly, I would have been totally fine if they did this, and then at the very end, the last mission, they would have provided an outfit of some sort. But there was no outfit. It was literally just this. And they did this for every character that could hold a sword. Let me go to like, well, I guess these characters specifically know. Like, they did this for a bunch of characters. Like, for example, Heathcliff, they gave him one. They gave one to you as well, I believe. Yep. Strea didn't get one. Of course, Argo didn't get one. You didn't get one. Of course, you have one as well. Like, they gave these to so many characters. And like the first mission, you get like a bunch of them, and it's like, okay, cool. That's like, you know, for that one character. Then they came out with guns. Like, they gave the gun for Xion. There's the gun for Death Gun. I believe she got one as well. Yep, cool. Black silver sword for you. Black silver sword for you. Like, you can see it just continues, and this is there's no better way of putting it. It's lame, dude. Like, it's super lame to go through all those cosmetics. They even came out with a dagger, I believe, if I remember correctly. I think they came out with a dagger too, right? Yeah, they came out with a dagger as well. Like, and it wasn't interesting. It wasn't different. It is just the weapon that we already have the ability to get a hold of if you just don't want to put on a cosmetic. And honestly, it's a letdown, man. It's a real big letdown as far as cosmetics go. I would have liked to at least see one different outfit. One. Just one. It doesn't have to be like a whole bunch, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, a ton of stuff or whatever. I understand it's not gonna be a situation where we get a bunch of free crap or whatever, but one outfit would have been what I'd like to see from this. And dude, we didn't get any. Like, we didn't get a single one, and that's a paid DLC. That's kind of the biggest point about this. You're paying for the DLC itself. It wasn't like a free update. The free update stuff is actually amazing. It's really, really good. That's something I praise them on, the fact that they have free updates for the content. We have a new boss, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment, but these cosmetics are kind of insulting for people when they pay for a DLC and they paid to get a cosmetic of a weapon that they're going to get anyway. Like, it's, I mean, it's also, it's worth mentioning that, yeah, if you don't have the DLC, I don't believe you get these weapons as drops. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to check on that one specifically, but it's not a good look, and it's important to understand like how your player base feels in these situations. It's going to cause people not to buy more DLCs. Like, it's going to have people like, hey, honestly, like, dude, that last one didn't give me crap. I'm not paying for another one of these. Like, this is dumb, right? Like, it's how people are going to feel about this, and I can't blame them. They're absolutely justified in feeling that way. So it was one of those things where I was like, this definitely fell short. Outside of that, we also have the extreme boss that was added. Now, I haven't personally done the extreme boss because there's another problem, which is our player rank. Player ranks are a bit of a slog, and yeah, I understand you definitely want to grind. However, I'm not the only person that's having problems with this. They actually released numbers on this, and 2.3% of the player base is actually above 90. One, this was way too high for the first 3 weeks of the game releasing, as much of a grind as it is to get your player rank high. Granted, later on, not gonna matter nearly as much, right? They definitely wanted to get some extreme content out there for people that are really, really grinding, and I totally respect that. But why release that 3 weeks in when you know your player base, like 2% of them can actually like go into that piece of content? And on top of that, it's limited time. You can't just go in there whenever you want. There's an actual schedule. Let me see if I can pull it up one sec. So this was the first schedule they released, and as you can see, it has 1 hour blocks to go into this. Now, this has since changed. They've already updated this less than 24 hours after its release, and now it is 3 hour blocks. But I ask you, why is it limited in the first place? This just doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't understand why you would put something like this out and then force players into it at a very specific time of the day. Maybe it's something they're going for. Maybe it kind of pushes people into like doing other pieces of content and then coming back and farming this and then going back into the other thing or whatever, and then coming back and farming this, whatever it happens to be. Sure, maybe that's what you're going for, but it just seems a bit silly. Now, granted, this is free content. You don't have to buy the DLC for this. This is just added in afterwards. So cool. But like when the servers came up, there was no EX raid for 6 hours. Imagine being ready when the servers go live, whether you're a streamer, whether you're getting ready to go in it with your friends or whatever. We had no idea about the schedule. The servers go up and you're like, hey, you can't go into the raid. What's going on? Oh, 6 hours until you can go in. What? Now, granted, they have apologized for lack of communication and they're going to communicate these better in the future, but it just seems like a silly thing to do to begin with. I don't know why you would want to set this up this way. Maybe, you know, again, they want to have people come into this and then jump away from it and then go back into it, then jump away from it, whatever. But like now you're creating these blocks of time where people kind of feel the need to jump into this because they're not going to be able to, they're going to miss it otherwise. Maybe someone's getting home from work. Maybe someone is just getting in from something they were working on or doing. Maybe people only have certain time of the day they can play. Hopefully, you know, it lines up with one of these blocks, and I imagine it would. But I mean, like, look at the schedule. It's kind of all over the place, right? Like the 18th, there's 4 slots. The 19th, there's like 1. 20th, there's 4 slots. The 17th, there was 1 slot. Like, I don't really fully understand why. Like, what's the purpose of doing things this way? It just seems to overcomplicate things unnecessarily. And again, that's just my opinion on the matter. Maybe you guys see it a bit differently. Totally understandable, but I think it's a bit silly to have to do this sort of thing in the first place. And then the last thing, which is like really good, but like they probably should have done differently, is there's also a character EXP as well as a player rank EXP event going on. I don't know why this wasn't a week before this came out. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know why they didn't do the ranked EXP up by 1.5% all last week, or maybe all this week, and then push, or oh, you know what, even better, do this and then push the extreme boss raid to next week. I know pushing content back feels really bad. What that would have allowed people to do was not only get ranked up, because, and they could be like, hey, look, we know most of you guys aren't ranked 90. We have 2% of players that are actual ranked 90, 2.3% of players that are actual ranked 90. Here's an event to help you boost your player ranks. Granted, they really need to look at the actual player ranking system in the first place, because it is an insane grind. It's really, really annoying. And it's a slog. But here's a event to help you guys boost your player ranks, and you can boost the new character, because it's also just for Strea. So what it is you get increased experience. I'll show you guys really quick. Go to co-op quests. So increase player rank by 1.5%, and then character rank by 1.5% for Strea. So Strea gets increased character ranks. Everyone else doesn't, but Strea has increased character ranks. So people who wanted to run Strea and the new boss, they can go ahead and work on leveling her up, because yes, levels actually do matter. They do give you base stats, and they are pretty powerful. So if you played a character at like low ranks and you're like, dude, I feel like I'm not hitting anything, and you play them, or you grind them up or whatever, and all of a sudden you start doing more damage, well, they have more base stat for you to multiply on top of. So it's definitely usable. But to have this come out in this sort of way where you're kind of like rushing for both, it kind of feels bad. It doesn't make much sense in my opinion. So they definitely need to look at things like this and space it out. Do events before you do a boss raid. Like, and I'm not sure how long this is going to last, if this is just how the extreme boss raids are going to be from this point forward. If it's going to be a situation where you have to, I mean, you're going to rank up or whatever, if they're going to increase ranks eventually, right? Like 100 currently is the max. Again, I'm in the way. Let me move myself out of the way. 100 is currently the max, and this is recommended rank 100 and equipment restriction 100. Are they going to go past this? This is going to be the highest rank they go for. Who knows? We're not 100% sure. There's one cosmetic in this, which, again, an L. A big part of this should be cosmetics. Like, this is cool. You have a little dome cap or whatever. You have a rare chance of getting this. And a lot of the stuff in this does have, like, you know, a lot of things do have cosmetics, right? Like, you get cosmetics from a lot of the raids that we have, and a lot of the free roam stuff. Not free roam, sorry. A lot of the co-op quests that we have, which is great. Definitely a W on their part. And the fact that this is free, also a very big W. A lot of things have been done really, really well. However, these specific things take like all things that were done well and pull them down. So this whole update feels extraordinarily mid. Hopefully this is something that Bandai can take like as criticism or as feedback, I know players aren't always exactly the nicest about these things. They can be pretty intense. And I know some people, like, they have very, very little patience, and they'll be like, listen, I'm not dealing with this, I'm done. And they'll just walk away. And that sucks. That sucks for the players that were playing it. That sucks for the players that are left playing it. That sucks for the development team that's working on a game that they really want to succeed. So hopefully they look into these sort of things and they do this better in the future. That's it. That's all I had to talk about. Next videos should hopefully be more about the actually doing the quests, and I'm going to be grinding up my player rank as high as possible. Now that we have some more time to actually work on, that's something we're going to be grinding pretty much consistently, probably on every single stream. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be live again tonight. Well, I guess tomorrow morning, technically at 3 a.m. EST. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys then. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys feel the same way I do? Do you feel a bit differently? I know, again, a big contention for me is the cosmetics. That was a huge letdown, like a massive letdown in my opinion. I was almost half tempted to see if they like put a bunch more cosmetics in the store, which they didn't. It's still the same. I was half tempted to see them put cosmetics in the store, but then of course they threw the Lucky Charm packs in here, which is 5 times. See, that again, this is not going to feel great for people. They're not going to be happy about that. So either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, sub if you want to keep up with more. As always, thanks to channel members. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you all next time. Take care, my friends. Peace out.